Hi, everybody. We're glad to be joined today by former Harding quarterback Park Parish. And Park, thanks for joining us today. Can I call you an old Bison now?
Oh yeah. I feel like an old Bison.
Well, how are things going for you? Catch everybody up on what Park Parish is up to after football.
All right. Yeah, things are going great. So I just graduated from Harding again with my doctorate in physical therapy. So did that in May. Been studying all summer for our board exams. Took those on the 30th of July, and actually found out yesterday that I passed them. So,
well, congratulations!
Thank you. So now I'm ready to go work. And I'm excited for that. I actually start on Monday. So transitioning again into a new part of life. Got married back in May to a girl that is originally here from Searcy, but she went to the University of Arkansas for her undergrad. Now she works here in town. So we're still living in Searcy, and I'm going to take a job, or I took a job in Clinton, so I'll be making a drive back and forth. But for now, we're still living in Searcy. So, hopefully get to watch the Bisons play football this fall if it happens, since we'll be around. So,
well, congratulations on your marriage as well, and a chance to go back home. And you mentioned Clinton. Obviously, that's home to you. And
yes,
I wanted to ask you about you coming to Harding. And Chris Dufran, good friend of mine, the head football coach at Clinton, and so many times he's talked about your competitiveness. Where did that come from? I mean, I know your dad played basketball collegiately. Obviously, your mom's family very, very much sports. So, I mean, your background in sports. Do you contribute to attribute, I should say, a lot of that to the family surroundings?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, my mom is as competitive as anybody that I know. And my whole family's that way. Everything that we did growing up. I had a brother, still have a brother that's 4 years older. So he and I competed in everything. He always beat me in everything, but, so I just grew to have that competitive spirit just like everybody else around me. And, it makes everything fun. It doesn't matter if you're sitting there playing cards with the family or a pickup basketball game or anything, when we go out hunting or doing anything, it's always a competition, no matter what you're doing. And it comes from dad's side and from mom's side, maybe more from my mom's side than dad's side, even though, dad had played college ball and did all that. And he's competitive too, but that's just the way our family is. And, I think it's part of what has made us successful in our lives is just the ability to go in there and bump elbows with everybody and grind it out and do what you got to do to find a way to win.
Park, obviously recipient of the prestigious Berry Hill Award in 2017, but I'll go backwards from there because 2016, the football season, a magical year. But Park, I want to go back to 2015 because really it started there. The groundwork for 2016, a 7-4 season, your first start. Talk about your first start at Oklahoma Baptist. I'm sure you won't remember that. It was Oklahoma Baptist's first game in the Great American Conference. Go to overtime and just kind of take me through your first start.
Oh, that game. That was a roller coaster game. We knew, that it was their first start in the GAC, and really we were probably a little overconfident, especially for a team as young as we were. We had a lot of juniors starting, but most of us, it was our first year starting. And that senior class, was so talented in 2016. Well, 2015, we were mostly new starters. There were a few, guys that had started as sophomores or really got some playing time as sophomores and even freshmen. But a lot of us, it was our first time to step up. But we knew how much talent we had with that class and with, the underclassmen and some of the upper. There was a small senior class that year, but they were really talented. So we knew we had the talent, and we knew we should have gone out there and steamrolled them, but we just struggled. Everybody was trying to, figure it out that game. I ended up getting banged up a little bit that game. That's when I first hurt my wrist. That kind of plagued me for the rest of my time, especially that season. But we just missed a bunch of opportunities, made a lot of mistakes that game. And it was close the whole way, a lot closer than we anticipated or wanted it to be, and it ended up going to overtime, like you said. And luckily, we were able to sneak out of there with a victory, but they about upset us in their first game in the GAC. But it was a fun game. We learned a lot, I think, about ourselves, and myself included. Learned a lot about managing the game and controlling emotions and stuff like that while you're out there, because it was an up and down game.
To win that game in overtime, Oklahoma Baptist missed the extra point. They scored first, and Harding scores, hits the extra point, wins it, and gets out of Shawnee with a victory, and 7-4 in 2015. Then you go to 2016. Did you have any idea that 2016, did you have the dream of 2016 being as magical as it turned out to be?
It's easy to say it on this side of things after it's already happened, but I think we all knew after 2015, and even before that, we'd been saying since we were freshmen that we wanted to, we had a lot of talent. We knew that we had so much talent and that we could be really good. And then after that 2015 season, even though we went 7-4, if you look back at our 4 games, I think we led all 4 games that we lost. I think we led at some point in the fourth quarter. We just weren't finishing games. And we basically had the same team in 2016 minus a few of those seniors that graduated. So we knew going in, hey, we got a chance to do something, really, really good here. And I think we learned from 2015 to 2016, the biggest thing that we learned was just how to finish. And it showed, and especially in that Sioux Falls game, that's just gutting it out and finding a way to win, even when the odds are stacked against you, even when everything has seemed to go wrong, just finding a way to win. I think that's what good teams do, and that's what we learned from 2015 to 2016.
The 2016 Great American Conference champion Bisons, it was really a dominating regular season. One really close game, the Ouachita game. That was family weekend. We all know how big the Ouachita game always is. Harding-Ouachita is always a great game. It was a great game the year before, but Ouachita had won the year before. You scored late in the game, about midway through the fourth quarter, and the Bisons win the football game. You almost scored on a long run that caught you.
Oh, yeah.
You wound up scoring on a 2-yard run. Let's kind of talk about that game.
Yes. Ouachita, man, they're just a thorn in our side, and I'd say we're probably a thorn in their side. It's always just, you never know who's going to win. Doesn't matter records, doesn't matter. You can throw it all out the window. It's always going to be a tough game, a close game, and it was every year that I played it, and that year it was too. And they're just really disciplined. I think that's what it comes down to is I thought we had the better team, and they were a good team. But they're so disciplined and just really defend our triple option well. But I remember in the fourth quarter, I just kept telling Coach Underwood, I was like, hey, I want the ball. I want to run a certain play, that we hadn't – it wasn't really there the way that they were defending us. But I love that play, and I wanted to run it. And I was like, just let me have the ball. And finally we ran it, and the blocking was perfect. And, it just opened up, and I ended up busting that one long run, which was one of, the few plays that we actually busted that game just because of, like I said, how disciplined they are. They don't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we finally got them on one, and it's all it takes in that offense. It's just you just got to get them one time. And we finally did late in the game.
Well, now, do you remember one big play in the first quarter? You hit Andrew Dather, your buddy, and it seemed like you and Andrew Dather connected on some big touchdown passes and some long ones. This one was 69 yards. That was in the first quarter in that Ouachita game in 2016. What do you remember about that?
Oh, I remember everything about that play. So I take the ball and I do my fake or whatever, and I drop back and I throw it to Andrew. And as soon as I let it go, I was like, man, I overthrew him. I knew it. I knew I overthrew him. And I turned around and I punched the ground because I knew he was wide open. And then all of a sudden I hear everybody going nuts. And I turn around and he's in the end zone. And I promise you, I turned around, I slammed my fist on the ground because I thought over there. Well, then I go back and watch it on the video, and that dude has made some kind of one-handed grab out of the air. It was an incredible catch, because there's no way that he should have caught it. It was a terrible throw. But, yeah, I'll never forget I was dazed, and I turned around, everybody's celebrating, and I was like, how in the world did he catch that ball? And I go over there, and everybody's celebrating and all this, and I was like, well, that was a terrible throw. I can't be proud of myself for that one, but he made a heck of a play.
Well, there was a very good throw in the playoff game against Central Missouri, and earlier you alluded to Sioux Falls. And so many times people ask me about the Sioux Falls game. There would have never been a Sioux Falls game had the Bisons not beaten Central Missouri.
Yeah.
That was number 20 Central Missouri. Harding was number 5. That was the first game of the playoffs, first Bison playoff victory. You hit Andrew Dather late in that game on an 81-yard touchdown strike. That was a perfect pass. And to me, that put that game away.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that put us up 17 at the time. And, yeah, we knew at that point that it was in the bag with the time left, just as long as we didn't make mistakes. But that game, yeah, they were better than number 20. I'll say that. That was a good football team. They had an offense. And the quarterback of theirs, Garrett something, I think. Man, he was a stud. And that game was back and forth. You know, it was like we'd score, they'd score. We'd score, they score the whole day. Finally, our defense got to stop, and we got the ball back. I say finally, our defense got to stop. They got to stop for us all year, but they got to stop that game, and we got the ball back. And, yeah, that pass to Andrew, that one I was a little more proud of than the Washita one. But, again, you know, he caught it and just separated from those guys and was able to score, and that was awesome. But, yeah, it definitely put the game away for us. That was a tough game. That was a tough game.
Yeah, you're right. It was Garrett Fugate was the quarterback for Central Missouri.
That's right.
What did that victory mean to the program? Because obviously had been to the playoffs before, but hadn't gotten that W. To get the W in the first round and then move on to Sioux Falls. And at that point, the Bisons are 12-0. You'd already won a conference championship, but now to win a conference or to win a national playoff game. What did that mean to the program, you feel like?
I think it meant a lot to the program. Man, just that first one kind of getting over the hill, that's just tough. You know, you spend this span of time, which Harding did, into building a program that was, you know, nationally recognized. They could compete with anyone they faced. And we thought we were there, and we knew we were inching closer there, but it seemed like every year we got to the playoffs, we'd drop a game, and we were like, well, we're not there yet. So I think to win that first playoff game, it just showed, hey, against a team of that caliber too, you know, a team that finished second or third in their conference, which was, you know, one of the most dominant conferences and still is one of the most dominant conferences in Division II football. To beat a team of that caliber, that kind of was just like, all right, you know, we're there. We can compete with anybody. We don't need to, you know, fear anybody, I guess, because we know we've got the talent and the team that could go out there and compete with anybody on any given day. And so I think you're seeing the fruits of that. And now that we're, you know, years down the road, you've seen Harding go to the playoffs and go even farther than we did and win games that they weren't supposed to win or whatever, you know, because I think we've just as a program moved past that fear of the playoffs and that fear of can we compete or that question mark. And now we know, yeah, we can and we will and we are. So.
And one last note from that Central Missouri game, the students were off campus. It was during Thanksgiving break, but the crowd I thought was as raucous of a crowd as I have experienced at First Security Stadium. It was definitely a playoff crowd on a cold November afternoon, and that made it feel that much better that it was on campus.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. They fueled us for sure.
Now you go on to Sioux Falls the next week, and the team gets on a charter plane, go to Sioux Falls, kind of set up what that trip was like for the team to get on the charter plane and go up. There was snow, obviously, in Sioux Falls, and that was a different experience.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. That was cool. That felt first class right there, and we really, you know, soaked that in and enjoyed that as a team, just that bonding experience. We kind of saw it as a reward, you know, making it that far and with the accomplishments that we had. It was almost like a little celebration for the team to just get to go up there together and, you know, get up there a day or two early and see some of the sights around there. And it beat the heck out of driving all that, I can tell you that. That was a long ways away. But that was a really cool experience. And I'll always, you know, remember that and getting to do that with my teammates.
And Sioux Falls had a late lead. They're up 24-14 with about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Talk about that fourth quarter just to set it up, because the Bisons had to score not once but twice in the fourth quarter to get to overtime. Tell me about the first drive. Obviously, it was a big one. You wind up 75 yards, 13 plays, and you would eventually score on a 1-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, Yeah, Terrence Dingle came in and led the team for most of that drive because I was pretty banged up and was out of that drive for most of it. And he took us right down the field, had some big plays, did a great job. And, the offense just stepped up when we needed them to. And the linemen, the ball carriers, the receivers, everybody did their part. And then I came back in towards the end of that drive and was able to score. So I guess I kind of stole Terrence's thunder, so I have to apologize to him about that. But, it's a team effort. And the defense did a great job getting us the ball back. And then we, went down and we wanted to make it a little easier on Tristan for that last field goal, but we unfortunately stalled out. And he ended up having – how far did you say that
47 yards.
Yeah, so we left him a little bit of meat on the bone there. But, he drilled it and sent us to overtime. And, man, that was a crazy game. That was one of those games that I was talking about, just coming back, refusing to lose, and finding a way.
Park, I mentioned that drive, that 13-play drive, because then the defense had to get you the football back, and you get it back – but you had terrible field position, 8 plays, 57 yards. Mm-hmm. That's just to get in position to kick a 47-yard field goal. What do you remember about that last drive? Because late, no timeouts, and having to get to a spot to where Tristan Parsley at least had a chance to send us to overtime.
I remember almost throwing an interception on that drive. That should have been an interception. But, yeah, I mean I remember a few plays from that drive. I remember I had a run on one of them that got us kind of down there, and that's about the only other play I remember. I probably should have pitched that one to – it was either Eric Kelly or Zach Shelley. I don't remember. They probably would have scored if I'd have pitched it to them. But, we just – we drove down there and gave him a chance. And I remember coming back on the sideline when he went out to kick it and putting my head down and just thinking – man, this has got to go. With all the stuff we've been through, this has got to go. And I was just praying. And I put my head down. I didn't watch the kick at all. And then when I heard everybody going nuts and celebrating, I picked up and we celebrated like we won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Tristan Parsley hit the field goal. It's still a play that I have people talking to me about years later, and I expect that we'll always talk about that game. And I remember the pictures of the celebration on the sideline. But you mentioned – you still had won the game, had to go to overtime. Right. Benjamin Shields came up with a big interception in overtime, and Sioux Falls had the football first, and that set the Bisons up with a chance to win it there late. And then Tristan Parsley would hit a 35-yard field goal for the Bisons to win that football game. I talked about the trip up to Sioux Falls. What was the trip like coming back from Sioux Falls on a charter plane?
Yeah, it was way better than the trip up there. Getting to celebrate with everybody on the plane, that was awesome. We had a party on that plane. That was a lot of fun. Benjamin had a huge play right there. That was a huge pick. And as soon as that happened, I think we all just knew it was over with. We ended up – Yeah. No, go ahead, Billy.
I'm just going to say, Park, you spent your time at Harding redshirted, and then the 4 seasons playing, 2 years as a starter. What was your experience as far as to put a period on it with the Brotherhood, and just how much that meant to you? And then also, do you wish that you could have worked out in that brand new Huckabee Fieldhouse that's there now?
Harding in general, including Harding football, just meant the world to me. I wouldn't be where I am today without Harding. And the relationships that I made, all the guys that were in my wedding, I met at Harding, and some of them, I played ball with. And so Harding means everything to me. And I love that place, and I love the people there and the coaches. It is truly a brotherhood. A lot of places say they have a brotherhood, but that one, they truly care about you. All those coaches over there do. I still get calls, and texts from Coach Simmons and Coach Underwood and all those guys, and Coach Hutt too. And, it's more than just football. They'll walk through life with you, and they really do care about you, and I appreciate that. Coach Simmons wasn't even, my coach at the time. He's defensive coach, but, he talks to me, and he'll tell me that he loves me, and, making sure that I'm doing all right. And I just appreciate that more than anything in the world, and I don't think a lot of places would do that. As far as the facility goes, everyone asks me this. I'm kind of glad we didn't have it at the time. It's super nice. It's awesome, first class. I think it will make the Brotherhood better. I think it'll make them better for it. When I was playing, we had a lightning delay. I was happy to have a short practice and go back home for a little bit. Now they don't get that anymore. So, but no, it's first class. That place is awesome. It would have been really, really cool to have been able to work out there and to practice in there. But, I'm glad they have it now because it's going to take this program to the next level, I think.
Well, Park, I tell you what, it's sure been fun catching up with you. I watched you play all through high school, and I feel honored to get to have covered you in your collegiate career as well, and look forward to seeing you. With you being back at Clinton, I'll get to see you.
That's right.
As well. So yeah,
that's right. Yes, sir. See y'all later. Appreciate it, Billy.
Take care, Park.
All right. Bye-bye.